Do you remember the feeling the first time you used ChatGPT? I remember. I was blown away by Chat's ability to process pages and pages of PDF documents, to write emails, even to help me plan a family trip to California. That feeling is how I feel today about AI agents. And if you haven't felt it yet, you will soon because AI agents are changing the way we operate in business and even church. And so today's sermon is probably unlike any sermon you've ever experienced before in your life because in today's sermon, I'm a chaplain, by the way, if you haven't figured that out, we are going to be building your first AI agent. And in particular, we're going to be building an executive assistant to help you navigate your email inbox. And the same skills and way we're going to do this today, you can use for so many different tasks in your business, in your personal life, you name it. So I'm Dr. Robert Solano. I have a PhD in artificial intelligence and technology. I'll share more about who I am here in a little bit, but I don't want to waste your time any longer. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing I like to do is I like to use a tool called WhisperFlow, and that's WISPRFLOW. Now, I really like WhisperFlow because what it does is it allows you to convert your audio to text anywhere, whether that's in Claude Code, ChatGPT, a website, a Word document, anywhere. So I strongly recommend download WhisperFlow, or if you have a similar system already, that's fine, and get that up and running. And you can create a free account so you can try this. The next tool that we'll need and be using the most today is Claude Code. The way you get to Claude Code is you go to the website, claude.ai, that's CLAUDE.ai, and you can download the desktop app here on the bottom left and then create an account. You will need a paid account, which start at about $17 per month, which is a pretty reasonable price for most people. You could use Claude on the web, on the desktop, or even the command line interface. For today, we're going to be using the desktop app, and I strongly recommend using the desktop app in the future. If you're a really hardcore coder, you can use the command line interface. But the desktop app allows you to just do things that the web version won't allow you to do. Once you download that and install, you will get to a screen that looks very similar to this. If you ever used ChatGPT before or any type of text or language model, you know that there's usually a prompt where you can just start talking or typing in whatever you want, and it will reply to you. Now, what makes this a little bit different than probably what you've done before, if this is your first time using code or an agent, is in the top left, you'll see three different features. There's chat, which is if I needed help planning my family trip to Spain, because we're leaving for Spain tomorrow and I haven't packed yet, and my wife is probably going to be pissed at me when she comes home in an hour or two. But if I wanted to get help planning a trip to Spain for my family, I would ask it here and have it back and forth so it can plan out an itinerary for me. Next is cowork. And cowork is for skills or workflows that require a little bit of extra integration with things. So, for example, if I was working on my Christmas cards and I wanted it to go through my address book, go through my email, find people that I should send Christmas cards to, create those labels, and put those labels in a PDF document that I can send to a printer, I would probably use something like Cowork to help me navigate and work through what that looks like in that project. And then finally, you have Claude Code. And the way I think about it is cowork is a project, usually confined to one event that doesn't really happen on a regular basis. And code is a job that happens on a regular basis and that needs to connect to multiple different systems. And I'll talk more about what that looks like in a little bit. But just understand for right now that we are going to be using Claude Code, and you have to get there by just selecting the code button in the top left-hand side. The next thing I want to point your attention to is above the prompt line, there's a button that may say default or local, and we're going to create a folder for where we want this AI agent, our executive assistant, to live. And so I'm going to hit the default, I'm going to switch to local, I'm going to hit the drive folder and I'm going to open up a new folder. I'm going to create a new folder on my Google Drive for EA agent. I'm going to create. So now we have a folder for EA agent, and all the files that we're going to create today are going to live within this folder. From here, again, I mentioned I have WhisperFlow going. So from here, I'm just going to tell Claude what I want it to do, and it's going to work with me to help create a plan. So speaking of plan, down here at the bottom, it says accept edits. If you click that button, you can see the different modes that Claude operates. It can ask you for permission every time, accept edits. I want to go into plan mode since I'm just starting, and I really want to have a good plan before it goes off and starts executing things. So I'm going to switch to plan mode, and then I'm just going to tell it what I want it to do. So here we go. I want your help creating an executive assistant agent. A little bit about me. My name is Dr. Robert Solano. I'm a minister at Heart Space Church. I am a chaplain, a psychedelic chaplain, because we are a interfaith, non-denominational community, and we're unique because we practice psilocybin mushrooms as our sacrament of communion. I need help with my email because I have multiple email accounts. One is Robert at Heartspace Church, heartspace.church, that is. The other one is Robert at robertsolano.com. My primary one is Robert at heartspace.church. But I get lots of spam. I get lots of newsletters. I get lots of things that just aren't really that important. And I need help navigating all that non-important stuff and surfacing the important messages that I really should be replying to or that really should be getting my attention. I envision you as an agent that manages multiple agents because I also want an agent to help me with my calendar. I don't really use my calendar right now, but I think that if I was more disciplined in blocking off time on my calendar, I could accomplish more, do the things that are aligned with my focus, as well as take care of myself. Things like going to the gym 3 days a week, doing date nights with my wife, etc. And finally, if there are emails I need to reply to, I want you to draft those replies for me to help free up my free time. And at the end of the day, or rather first thing in the morning at 6 a.m., I'd like you to send me a daily email recapping any work you've done overnight and also telling me what I need to focus on for the day. Help me develop an architecture and plan for what this EA agent should look like. I hit enter, it transcribes it, and now it's off and running. Now, I know that was a mouthful, and maybe you wanted to listen to that, maybe you didn't. The key point I'm trying to make is Claude really excels when you just talk to it. Just tell it what the hell you want it to do and let it figure it out for itself. Now, occasionally, Claude will ask you to allow it to run certain things. If you don't know what it's asking, you can just ask. So, for example, it wants to run this grap.mcp, blah, 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 blah. If you don't know, you can say, you can deny and ask what it wants to run. Usually, though, to be honest, I just allow it, right? As long as it's nothing like a red flag, which it never is, I just allow it to run almost everything. And basically what it's trying to do, it's trying to search through my files, see if there's any work it's done before, see what connections it has, see if it can already build upon things that it already has going. And that's okay. While it's running, a few other things I want to point out. As it's running, you'll see the time tick up as well as tokens. And tokens are like credits, not necessarily related to how much money you spend, but you get a certain amount of tokens per day, per hour, per week, and they reset at those given times. You don't have to pay for extra tokens. I don't even think you can unless you upgrade your plan. It automatically resets those tokens and just limits you once you hit those limits. Now, where that comes into play is on the right-hand side, bottom right-hand side, you'll see a button that may say Opus or some other name. And these are the different language models that Claude has available. The higher up on the list, the more ability that model has, the more accurate its responses are going to be, the more ability it has to go through complex problems and solve them for you. And then you'll see the level of effort, whether you want a low, medium, high, or max level of effort. Now, Opus 4.8 is the newest, best model out there, but it takes more time and also burns through more of your tokens. So I'm just going to use 4.6 and I'm going to use medium because I want it to process fast since this is a tutorial and it'll probably actually be pretty good. But if I had complex stuff, I'd switch to a higher model. Very rarely ever do I go to a max on Opus 4.8. While this is running, a few other things I want to bring to your attention. So first off, Claude can't touch your emails unless you connect it to other systems. So the only thing Claude can do is write files to your desktop and maybe run some simple code on your desktop. If you want it to touch your Outlook or your Gmail or Slack, you have to connect it to those different systems. And so let's go ahead and on the left-hand side, while this is still running, click on Customize and click on Connectors. And from here, you'll see different connectors. So I already have it connected to Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, and Microsoft. If I wanted to create a new connection, all I have to do is hit the plus button, browse connectors, and then search for the ones I want. So if I wanted to connect it to Canva, connect it to my Google Calendar, Slack, etc. All you have to do is just click the plus button and it will ask you to log in. And then once you're logged in, the systems are connected. There's very little else that you have to do. The other thing I want to highlight is skills. So Anthropic, the company that owns this, they have created certain skills which are designed to help you do different things. So if, for example, you want to create beautiful PDFs, they have a skill called Canvas Design, which gives Claude Code the ability to better create PDFs or certain documents in the future. And then finally, if you go to plugins, you'll see different plugins that, again, are geared towards doing different things. There's one plugin for marketing, which includes creating content, planning campaigns, analyzing performance. And so I encourage you to go through and just add whichever plugins or skills or connectors you think you're going to use. And what Claude is doing, as I was telling before, is, and I'm going to click back to get out of this. What Claude is frequently doing is when I ask it to do things, it's checking its skills, it's checking its connectors to see what it can already do before it just goes out and starts doing things. And you'll see it says, good news, you have MCP integrations already connected for Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Outlook, etc. So that's great news because that means I don't have to go through and connect those things. But even if I did, it would only take a few seconds. So now Claude is asking for a few clarifying questions. It's asking me, where does it want to send the 6 a.m. email? So I want to send Artspace Church. Which calendar do I want to use? I want to use my Google Calendar, my personal one. How should the agent handle email reply drafts? I want to save in Gmail drafts. Which time zone, etc. And when you do this, you will have different questions, different prompts, different plans, because that's really the beautiful thing about these systems is you're never going to have the same answer twice. You can ask it the same exact thing I did, and you may not get the same answer. So it's done running, and it has a plan. And it says it has the orchestrated schedule of 5 a.m. That all looks good. It says the plan is in the folder. So the way you look at the folders is top right-hand side. If you click Files, you can see Claude's folder. And it has built this file called architecture.md. And if I click on it, I can read through this architecture in more details. Do I want to proceed to build this out? Yes, I do. Yes, proceed. And now it will start building out this architecture that it described. Now, why this is building this all out, why is this important for a chaplain to talk about at a Sunday sermon? I think the Pope's recent message this week really highlights it. For the first time ever, the Pope has issued a theological document about artificial intelligence. And that just shows you how important this is in the world and in spirituality. Personally, my belief is that all of us should be focusing our time and energy on the things that are most important, the things that only a human could do. Things like meeting people for coffee, going on hikes, telling someone that you love them. And the less time that I need to spend going through my email inbox, writing captions or hashtags for my social media posts because I need to game the algorithm in order to spread the word and get my ministry out there more, the less time I can focus on that BS stuff and just spend doing the stuff that really I'm passionate about, the things that I think are why God put me on this earth. I think that's what AI allows you to do. Now, there are a lot of issues around AI from a societal context, and I don't mean to diminish those. AI data centers are bad for the environment in many respects. There is serious concern about AI taking jobs away, and I'll talk more about that in the future, especially when I share my marketing platform. But from a personal perspective, how does AI help us? How does AI help you be more aligned with your purpose on this earth? And I think that's where these tools come in. So let's see what it created here. So email triage, it has, looks like it's applied some labels here for noise, proceed, skip, etc. It's done some stuff for Outlook. All right. Does it want to schedule the daily run and run next? Yes. Yes. Schedule the daily run and run it. All right. Now I'll go ahead and proceed with that. And at the end of the day, I think everyone that's a professional will eventually be using AI agents, whether your business provides it to you, whether your boss is using it in the background and you don't even know that they're using it, or whether you're using it yourself. And I think of something like a blue collar worker, right? My dad was a brick and concrete mason, a blue collar construction worker his whole life. And I remember growing up, and especially around tax season, like early April, I remember he'd have all these papers all over the kitchen table, working on his taxes. I remember he'd always be like writing invoices, and he had this chicken scratch writing, and he'd write stuff that he wouldn't even be able to understand, and clients would be pissed because they couldn't understand his invoices. And I think about something like that, a construction worker, a plumber, anyone that has their own business. If AI agents can help do their invoices, help with their taxes, help get five-star reviews on Google for them, help connect with people and triage things so that they're not wasting their time giving quotes to people that don't want quotes, those businesses in the future are going to succeed more than the businesses that aren't using AI agents. And when you talk about white collar workers, attorneys, engineers, et cetera, forget about it. If you're not using AI agents as a white collar worker in the future, you're going to be left behind so quick that you are going to be looking at the plumber or electrician, wondering how they've become a millionaire and you are a broke engineer with a master's degree and 20 years of experience. That, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what you look at, is the direction that we're headed. And I think the faster you can get ahead of this curve, the more better you will be in the future. All right. So let's see. It says it has, looks like it has run. So I'll just hit, does it want to proceed to the next phase? And I will say yes. Let's see. Did you send me a daily update email yet? If not, Would you please send that to me before proceeding? Okay, it says it sent it. It should be in my inbox. The subject line is Good morning, Robert. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over to my inbox and see if that came through. And here it is. Good morning, Robert. So here is my EA's weekly email. Right now, I don't have any emails that I need to respond to. It triaged and processed and labeled a few emails overnight and has my suggestion for the day to go pack, which probably would make my wife happy. Okay. I could let it continue to work on my calendar and I could go back and forth on this for a little while. But one of the key things about these systems is you really need to establish ability for it to learn over time. And so I'm going to reiterate that and create that here now. So I'm going to talk to it. I saw the daily update email. That's good. Thank you. I really want you to learn from me over time. So if you draft an email for me, I will go into my draft folder and may edit it before I hit send. I want you to look at my sent emails and compare it to the draft version you have and learn over time my style and my preferences and more about me. Also, when you send me a daily update email, I may reply to you to that email with feedback, and I'd like you to learn about that feedback and adapt and improve over time. And I want this process to happen every day when you run your routine schedule. So I'll go ahead and activate that. While it's thinking about that, I want to show you what that looks like in practice. So in practice, if I want to give feedback on this daily update email, here's how I do it. I hit reply. And again, using WhisperFlow, so here's some feedback for you about your update email. First off, it's called your EA agent. I'd prefer if you gave yourself a name versus just EA agent. You have my schedule for today, but I really like you to think further ahead and think about what my schedule is for next week and the following week and really be proactive. So, for example, I'm flying to Madrid, but I know for a fact that I don't have hotel reservations yet. So, thanks for sharing my departure time. But the next step is I'd like you to think about what else I need, like a rental car or hotel reservation, and help surface those things so that you're being proactive. You say that emails need my attention. Yes, there are no emails in the last 24 hours that need my attention, but I know I have emails from the past week and especially the past month that do need my attention. So instead of just looking at 24 hours, I really want you to expand that scope to look at the past week for items that need my attention. I don't really need to know what you did overnight unless there's an issue that needs to be raised to my attention. And you know what? Can you send an email to my wife? Just tell her I love her more than anything else in the world. Thank you. And I'll hit send. So now I've built an EA agent that will take my feedback and incorporate it into the next brief on tomorrow morning. I've built routines that run every night. And if I want to check those routines on the top left, if I click routines, I see one here for morning brief. One item to note is currently it's set to local. I want this to run when my computer isn't on. So I would change that to run remotely. Let's see here. I thought there was an area here to change this to remote, but it doesn't appear. I may forget where that is at the moment. But what I can do is I can just go back to my agent and I can tell it, I want the routines to run remotely. I don't want them to run local. Please change it so that these routines run even when my computer is off. And there you have it. I hope you can begin to understand the ability that these agents have to help improve your life, help streamline your workflows, and reduce tedious, unnecessary tasks. I'll briefly show you two more things, and then we'll we'll run through it. So first off, know for a fact that it cannot, through the Google Gmail connector, Claude Code cannot automatically send emails. It can only normally create drafts of emails. So if you run into an issue like that, all you have to do is ask it, say, hey, you created a draft, can you send it? And Claude Code will tell you something probably like, no, I can't send it, but here are some other tools that you can use to connect it. And it can walk you through those tools. For example, I use Composio, which is a tool that I use to send emails. I want to clarify a few things for you. The first thing is that in order to run remotely, my files have to be saved to the cloud somewhere. So I use Google Drive. So even though I save files on my desktop, the files are backed up to the cloud. And this way, the routine accesses those files at night, even when a laptop is closed, and it could run remotely. And what I should have done is when I created the routine, I should have asked it from the beginning to create a remote routine instead of a local routine. And that would have saved a step in the end. The other thing I want to show you is, other than just communicating with my assistant through email, I could also always communicate to my assistant through Claude Code, the screen that you see right here in front of you. So if, for example, I need something fast and can't wait until I email and the assistant replies the following day, I can just come into Claude Code and type a message right here. So for example, I'm in Spain right now. That's why my outfit has changed and I'm in a hotel right now. And if we want to plan a trip to Granada tomorrow, I can just come here and say, hey, we are planning a trip to Granada to see the Alhambra. We're leaving tomorrow morning. We'll be back the next day. Give me an agenda. And if I wanted to, I could say, email me and Zaire the agenda. But for this purpose, I'll just have it create the agenda and post it right here. And so anything you need your assistant to do, you can just come here and talk to it as if you were talking to a real person. Now, a few other use cases I want to show you while this is turning through what the agenda looks like. I want you to think about the immense opportunities that agents can do. So this is a use case that I recently built out. And this is my longevity cockpit. I just retired from the Army after 21 years. I had over 750 medical records. Those are files, 750 files. That's not even counting how many pages each of those medical record or files had. 752 files for my medical record. That's not counting all my Apple Health data, my Oura Ring data. And I wanted a dashboard where I could put all of that into one place and see my personal health. So I created an agent to be my assistant healthcare provider. And I upload all that information. I said, hey, give me a dashboard. I want you to email every month, look at my calendar. If you don't see doctor's appointments or eye exam appointments, I want you to remind me to schedule appointments. I want you to communicate with my assistant in order to remind me to schedule those appointments. And I built this beautiful dashboard that has all my Apple Health data, all my biomarker data. And it's just an easy place for me to go to see a holistic view of my health in one place. And I really like getting the reminders once a month from my medical assistant on reminding me what I need to do, sharing podcasts and articles that I need to focus on to help improve my health. You know, another example, I know lots of people that follow me are in the business world. I also have a marketing agent, AKA digital ministry, because as a founder of Heartspace Church, it's really important for me to spread the good word, so to speak, not just in person-to-person events, but also in this digital world that we live in. And one of the challenges I had is, how do I grow my digital ministry? How do I reach more people? How do I create engaging content? And now I have an AI agent, actually a full department of AI agents, to help me with my digital ministry, which you could think of it like marketing. So everything from drafting scripts, writing captions and hashtags for videos, editing videos, drafting replies to comments. And one of the things that I really, really enjoy is this journal feature. So as part of my digital ministry, it's important for me, for this agent, to understand who is Robert Solano. And so what I did is I uploaded my books, my blog posts, everything that I could kind of think of. But then I also created an agent that once a week will prompt me with journal prompts. It will ask me, hey, how's your trip to Spain going? Or, what do you have going on this week? Or tell me more about atheism. What does that mean to you? And it's a really beautiful system because all I need to do is, again, using WhisperFlow, I just talk to this agent and I just write my weekly journal entries. And when I want to go into a deep dive, I open up Claude and I actually have a back and forth interview dialogue with this journaling agent that learns my story over time. And it's extremely therapeutic to journal, whether you're writing, speaking, any form of journaling you can. I think it's really beautiful. And not only that, but this agent talks with my assistant, talks with my healthcare provider agent. They all talk together and they all learn more about me over time. Now, I know some of you out there are, paranoid. You don't want AI companies to know everything about you, and that's a fair point, right? I'm a very open person. I'm an open book. I mean, heck, I just showed you my medical records, or at least high level of them. Your call on what you are willing to share. But at the end of the day, I think these tools are extremely, extremely powerful. If nothing else, I hope that my AI assistant can help me live a few years longer and extend my health span. And let's go back to Claude. And you'll see here that while we were chatting, Gabe has created a full itinerary. My assistant, Gabe is his name. He knows where I'm staying. He knows my rental car situation. He knows my family situation. He even knows how many car seats I brought with me because I told him because he asked me. And he's built out this full agenda with places to stop, Google Map addresses, and everything. And so, really, the limit is only your imagination when it comes to these assistants. I mean, I'm even working on building out a financial planning agent right now as well, because if I want to build a temple for my church, it's important for me to be able to manage money and invest wisely in order to build this dream temple that I have in the future. To really, transform your workflows, the way you approach tasks, ultimately at the end of the day, hopefully, so that you can dedicate your time and energy doing the work that God put you on this earth to do. And I only know a handful of people that were put on this earth to look at email all day long or to create hashtags for social media all day long. Most of us, most of us were not put here for that purpose. We were put here to do something greater, something more meaningful, something that contributes to society. And I hope that my message today and that these AI agent tools that you build can help you do God's work greater. Thank you. If this resonated with you, please leave a comment. My AI agent will reply to it on my behalf after I review it. Like, follow, subscribe. If you're ever in Phoenix, let me know. I'd be happy to go on a hike with you. If you ever want to practice medicine, let me know. I'd be happy to be a guide for you in ceremony through Heart Space Church. And I'm here to support you. I'm here because I love you and I live to serve you and I live to serve God. Thanks.